Good morning, pals. Welcome to day 23 of 100 days, 100 miles on a $100 treadmill. I'm Tanya, and come join us. We take a walk for 20 minutes and talk about Disneyland. So let's get going. All right, let's get this thing started. Ready for the countdown? Come on, everybody. Here we go. And let's ramp it up. My cat is freaking out in the background here. All of the presents are now not, they've been opened and there's nothing under the tree but a couple of empty boxes. So, what that'll do to a cat. So if you hear all that craziness in the background, that's him. Anyway, welcome back to 100 miles, 100 days on a $100 treadmill. Hope you guys are having a great day today. My treadmill is starting to creak in places. I'm not sure if that's a great sign. What is happening? Having a day today. Got a lot to cut out of this first thing in the morning here. All right. Well, thanks for coming back for another day of this, pals. I'm pretty excited about being day 23. We're this much closer to it being day 25, which will be a quarter of the way through, and that's kind of mind-boggling. I've already learned so much in doing these videos every day, and some days I wish that I didn't have this thing to do, but most days I'm pretty excited that I get to do it, because that's kind of what life is about, isn't it? I've made these choices, and it's not that I need to feel, I don't feel obligated, but I do feel obligated. So there's that. I need to start off on a more positive note today. I'm just going to be blabbing for a little while until I find my rhythm. You guys, I am getting so confused about what I've talked about and what I haven't talked about. Even when I go back and watch the videos, it's still like, I know that I've spoken about these things to the camera. Whether or not I've left them in for the final cut doesn't quite compute with me yet. So I'm going to try to start doing what I've been learning by watching some other YouTubers is I'm going to try to start just filming a complete thought, finishing that thought, and moving on to a new thought, and filming that thought separately. And that will hopefully cut down on my ramblings and my losing my train of thought and then not quite remembering what it is I've talked to you guys about. Okay, pals, let's get into the app a little bit. Actually, today, what I want to do is tell you about, there's a couple of other websites that you can use that Disney has. So these you can get them on your mobile device, but they are more set up for like at home on your computer. Gives you a little bit more in-depth information, a little bit different information than what is on just the app. Okay, so one of the things we're going to do today is look at Disneyland.com, which is like the desktop version. Not even the version, it's the desktop site for Disneyland, so it's Disneyland.com. If I Google Disneyland.com, it'll bring up this. That's the one you want. And that's going to bring you to this, the site that looks like this on your mobile device. So you can see that from the home page here, it basically wants to just start helping you make a reservation to get to Disneyland. Covers all those things of getting tickets, getting hotels, finding ways to save, how to earn Disney dollars. It's getting you started with all of these, how to plan your visit, what is going on at the parks with the Disneyland 70th anniversary, the World of Color Happiness, all of these things. It gives you some of that extra information, like Paint the Night returns January 30th. You know, when you're hearing people talk about how things are, certain rides are closed, or certain things are coming back to the parks, or certain things are leaving the parks, a lot of times it's because they're finding that on this desktop site. So if I click on that, it tells us that Paint the Night is returning January 30th, 2026. So at the end of the holiday season and the end of, like, January is kind of a time where they close down things like Haunted Mansion and Small World for about 2 weeks each, so that they can take down the holiday overlays, put the ride back to its original state. So once all of that is over in January, a lot of these 70th anniversary things look like they're going to be resuming. So that's where you can find out about some of that stuff. The reason I wanted to show this to you is because I was looking at how to find which rides have single rider lines, because I thought that would be kind of fun to talk about today. And I don't know exactly how to get there except for to Google what rides have single rider lines. So that is actually on the Disney Go site. You'll see that's disneyland.disneygo.com, which is yet another piece of these websites. So there's just like 3 different places you can go to find information about Disneyland. So your app, the disneyland.com, and then the disneyland.disneygo.com. So that's where we're at right now, is Disney Go. And what does single rider mean? Who can use it? All that good stuff. Anyway, so single rider. So you're going to squeeze more magic into your stay by reducing wait times at popular park attractions. Single rider service is a service that allows groups to split up and embark on select attractions individually. So this is what's key about single rider, is some people think, well, I have to be at the park all by myself to be able to take advantage of single rider. And that's not true. Disney encourages groups to break up and ride individually. So all single rider means is that you will not be seated with your group. You may get seated with, if you're like with one other person, sometimes you get seated together. That doesn't tend to be my personal experience on the regular. It just happens every once in a while. So what happens is you still get to wait in line with the people you enjoy waiting in line with. You're just not riding in the same car on the same ride through that, on that particular ride. And so a cast member can direct you to the designated queue where your party will be separated to fill remaining seats that aren't occupied by guests utilizing standby lines. So what this means, again, is that there are rides that are fast moving, that often have a long standby queue, and rather than sending ride vehicles through with empty seats, they will fill them in with single riders. So one of the best examples is on Radiator Springs Racers, the Cars ride. The way that the seating is that it seats 3 across the front and 3 across the back. So more often than not, people are traveling in pairs or even numbered groups. So the Cars ride goes really quickly through, they cycle through their single riders really quickly because they will seat like 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then there's 2 extra seats. And what they're not going to do is split up. If you've waited in that queue, the standby queue, they're not going to split you up into a front and back. They're going to sit you side by side. So what they do is take the single riders and split you up front and back. It happens to Chris and I that we take the single rider line on that all the time, and rarely do we end up in the same car. Usually the cast members are usually pretty savvy with who's together, and they will, what they usually do for Chris and I is actually seat us in opposite cars that will be racing each other once we get out onto the track. And so that's super fun. So just, look out for that little magic that can happen on single rider. So, all right. So to know before you go, immediate boarding or choice of seat is not guaranteed. If you're going through a single rider line, you're a filler. So you're doing yourself a favor by by getting into a shorter line. You're doing the cast members a favor by giving them a way to fill in empty seats. But you haven't waited, you haven't done your time. You haven't waited in the standby queue. So special requests are just, don't be that person. Don't ask for something special when you're already getting something special by being able to get on the ride a little quicker. Single riders must meet all boarding requirements. So this means that if you are taking a child with you, they'll tell you at the beginning, you will be split up. Your child has to meet the requirements of being able to ride by themselves. Special seating requests may not be accommodated. So again, you can ask for something, but don't expect. That's one of the things that will keep your Disney day that much happier anyway, is just don't expect people to bend over backwards to pixie dust you. Because the pixie dust happens to people who are just trying to make everybody's day better, not just their own. Fun fact. Participating attractions and wait times may vary. So that's just telling you that, like something on the Cars ride, if there is an 80-minute standby queue, you still may have a 20-minute, 30-minute queue in single rider. It's going to be shorter than standing in the standby queue, but it's not not by any means is it going to be a walk-on. I can't think of many single riders that actually do equate a walk-on. They used to before everybody knew about them, but before Disney actually started sort of promoting that that's what you should do. It was kind of a secret. So participating and attraction wait times may vary. Some single rider lines are not available all the time. Some of them are only available during the times that they actually need to kind of break down their queues or whatever. So places like the Monsters Inc. ride in California Adventure, they have what's called a buddy pass, and you have to go to the cast member and ask for it. So there's not just a single rider line that's available all the time. Same with Indiana Jones. There's not a single rider line. You have to go to the cast member, ask for a pass that they'll give you, and they'll direct you how to get into the ride to get to the single rider line. And the service is subject to availability. So down below, if we scroll down, how to find the single riders. So just like before, we find a map on the bottom here with stars on it. So if we click on any of those stars, it'll tell us what ride has the single riders on them. So there's a single rider at Tiana's, single rider at Indiana Jones, single rider at Space Mountain, the Matterhorn, and Millennium Falcon. So those are the 5 places in Disneyland. And then there's 4 places in DCA. You've got Goofy's Sky School, Incredicoaster, Radiator Springs Racers, and Web Slingers. Okay, let's go ahead and ramp this up. And we'll do some quick time to hit our mile here. Where are we going to head to today, pals? Let's go somewhere that has a single rider queue. Let's go to Web Slingers. It's a good place to start. So, I don't know, let's say we're just getting into the park over in California Adventure. All right, we're gonna head down Buena Vista Street. And once we get down to the hub there where the fountain is, where you get to greet Mickey, or Mickey gets to greet you often. All right, we're gonna turn there, head down into Hollywoodland, and we're gonna pass Schmoozies. All right, we head around the corner and we can see Guardians of the Galaxy. So we're entering Avengers Campus. And we're gonna take a walk past Guardians, past Pym's Test Kitchen, and the bar area out there called Pym's Taste Kitchen, Pym's Tasting Bar, something like that. And we have reached Web Slingers. All right, so if we look up, we can see that there's designated lines here. So there's a designated line for standby, for Lightning Lane, and for single riders. We get in that single rider line. And we've reached the back of the queue. And there it is, 1 mile. Good job, pals. Woohoo! All right, pals, we've done it. That's day 23 in the books. There's my ears for the day. Got to show off the last of my Christmas ears before we move into the new year. Thanks for joining me on the 100 miles, 100 days on a $100 treadmill. I'm Tanya. That's my Moai. And we'll see you tomorrow, pals. So just like before, whoop, I almost fell off the treadmill. That's awesome. Blah,